York Peace Center, being recorded here in WBNY's very own studio here on the Buff State campus. We're very happy to be here with a little nod to our friends at Think Twice Radio, who we're also very grateful to. It's great to be here, and when I think about gratefulness, I also think about our indigenous friends, and that reminds me that we are on stolen Haudenosaunee land, Seneca, Onondaga land that was taken through trickery and violence. But we still, love and revere our indigenous brothers and sisters, and we've learned so much from them about just that gratitude, and also our black and brown brothers and sisters who have just, in spite of having so much oppression, really have a spirit of thankfulness that percolates through so many things. So the indigenous people will do a ganonyo and thank Mother Earth and each other and the plants and animals, the sky world. And so we're thankful for all of that. And then they would say Nyahweh, and then the people would say Nyo. So Nyahweh.
Nyahweh.
And you say Nyo.
Nyo.
No, so thank you. So I'm very excited about our show today and about our guests or hosts, both. So just going around the room, we have Davon McCune. Davon, who's a longtime friend, activist, real leader in the community. He's done all kinds of work for Push Buffalo, his own work in D. Real McCoy Entertainment. That is now his main focus, and plus, working with us. So, Davon, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're grateful to have you. And last but not least, we have Marissa Allen. Marissa is a student here at Buff State. She's one of the station organizers, let me say, and certainly producer here producing the show. Marissa, it's so great to be here with you.
It's nice to finally meet you.
And thank you for having us here. So it's great to do the show in-house in the actual studios. We, last week was the first time we were back in these studios since COVID shut us down.
Yeah.
And, then we found our way to Think Twice, and we've still been having this relationship, but it's great to actually be here. So I didn't say our topic for the show, it really is, I'd say, racial and economic justice and the Western New York Peace Center dinner, our 58th annual dinner. So we're going to talk about the dinner. We'll talk about racial, economic, and even environmental justice, and really all our issues that are connected. And our topic of the dinner, which is defending democracy. So all those connected issues are very connected to defending our democracy. So for that, that's what we'll be talking about now. We had a little bit of a false start there. That show will resume at 1:00, but we're here now and we're doing this. We like to start off with a values piece. So when you think about the Peace Center annual dinner and defending our democracy, what are the values that you think of? And we'll just go around a circle. So Davon, what are some of the values you think of with that?
What are some of the values? My foundation is love. So
yes.
I always start with the value of love. And love is a dynamic word.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic and commodified world. So we think of the commodified romance love. And when I'm talking about love, I'm talking about an agape love, an unconditional type of love, and talking about how dynamic love is. So love is a verb. It's an action.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice.
Right.
And I believe that having that as a foundation, so whatever it is, whether it's peace or justice, equity, equality, if it's not done from a spirit of love, then I think it's always going to be a peace that's lacking.
Well, thank you for that. And I always start with love, too. Always, always, always. Ever since social work school, where we did an exercise that ended up saying, I left it with love. And they were like, that's what you have to bring in with you to every room you go into. And that's what we do. And so that's right. That's what it's all about. So, and Marissa, what's a value that you think of in connection with the dinner or the defending democracy that we'll be doing?
I personally expression, people's own expression, just any type of expression in general, like whether you're using your voice, your artistry, whatever you want to use to express who you are, what you believe in. I think that's one of the most core values, especially some college students. Definitely showing my age a little here with the expression. But I think it's genuinely one of the most important values that I know that most people really care about and are really passionate about.
Well, absolutely. I so much on the same page. And actually, the fact that you're a communication student, you're here where people are expressing themselves. This is all Talk Monday, too, all the more so. But even, as all week long, the programming really includes, self-expression and people's music. Of course, we know for some of us who are very into music, music is so important. People, and in this time where silence is, or actually any time, silence is complicity. And right now we have a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of that not going on, too, where people are really expressing themselves, like at the No Kings rally that we just talking about before we started the show.
That was an awesome, awesome thing to be able to see on social media. I really wanted to go, but I had some prior stuff that I had to take care of.
Although it happens.
But I saw the photos and the videos that came out, and it's just so nice to see my fellow peers on this campus there engaging in the community. There's the whole community as a whole. You said 7,000 people earlier. That's a crazy amount of people to see so passionate about something that is extremely important to everybody in America, not just people who went to that protest or were paying attention.
Absolutely. And actually, so I'm for those of you who are seeing this on video, which we do have it actually on video, I'm holding up this flyer about the dinner, but it's making me think of the dinner because really that defending democracy was all about what the No Kings rally was about, which we were intimately connected to that effort. I mean, I put out the press releases and, the Buffalo United Coalition is a great coalition. We had 37 or 38 co-sponsors on that. But so the other, what I usually bring up, because I want to give shout out to John Washington, who drew this.
It's my brother.
So many things, so many wonderful things about John Washington. I just love him. But one of the things that he shared that when I saw this on the bottom of his emails, I put it on the bottom of mine. It's still down there. Is Dr. King said, Reverend Dr. King, I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. That's why good temporarily defeated is stronger than evil triumphant. So usually with talking peace, by the time we've gone around and heard people's values, and they're always great values, right? I wind it up with truth and love. And so the truth piece of it is the truth of what's going on. So there's people who are not telling the truth about what's going on. There are people who know the truth and they're not telling the truth, or then they're lying, right? Or there's people who don't know they're lying, or they don't know the truth. They're getting misinformation, disinformation, and all that. Or there are people who are just living in fear, so they go along. But defending democracy definitely means, and part of the activism and the love means really recognizing the truth, too, of what's going on. And so I think of Gandhi, and his big thing was satyagraha, truth-seeking, right? So that truth that is love, that, they're one and they're all part of that whole creative force that is, if we want to call it God, we want to call it the spirit, we want to call it that which permeates our whole creation here. whatever we want to call it. It's what we're talking about here.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Talking about defending democracy and having the No Kings rally.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any actionable steps for, you said 7,000 people? So we had 7,000 people. Were there any actionable steps that was asked of the 7,000 people moving forward?
So, first of all, voting, working for the candidates that you want to vote for, or you want to win, right, was definitely one of them. Getting plugged into the Buffalo United Coalition website or listserv, et cetera, and also getting connected with the 38 some odd organizations was also very much included, because we have all kinds of actionable steps. We have all kinds of events that are helping people to understand what's going on and then to act on what's going on.
Do you think that those steps went and reached all 7,000 people? Because I was out of town celebrating my nephew's second birthday. So I couldn't go. But looking at social media and seeing videos and seeing people talk, I didn't receive that from the outside looking in. And so I'm wondering, the 7,000 that were there, do you feel like they all received that message of, the voting, getting connected to the listserv, and then getting connected to the 38 organizations?
I think that came out, pretty loud and clear. First of all, it's always hard to get 7,000 people to hear the message.
Yeah.
So I know that one of the things we had is that the square was full, and we had people coming around, that were actually marching around the square while the rally was going on. Then we marched up Delaware and crossed Tracy and back down. But so during that time when the actual rally was going on, people, not everybody could hear it, but I think the majority of people could hear the message. And did they receive the message to get involved and do something with these different organizations? That was the one that came out very loud and clear, even more than Buffalo United Coalition. And the voting also came out. Was it as loud and clear? Probably not as loud and clear. I think I think of voting necessary but not sufficient. And people do know, and they need to hear it over and over again. They're hearing it now. But the other thing was about getting involved with the different organizations. And you better believe I did bring this dinner up at the end of it and other events that we have. And we have events going on all the time. I want to say the dinner is really going to mobilize people and really help people see what's going on in all these different areas and how they're connected. So to start off with, we have a panel instead of having a keynote. So usually we've had a keynote, so there's one more focal point. But in this case, because there are so many issues that are connected, and we wanted to connect up with other people and organizations who are working on these various aspects. We have Craig McIver, who is he's the one person who is internationally known. He was the top UN human rights official for many years. And he quit recently over the failings of the U.S. to Gaza and to the Palestinians.
Yeah, it says Director of New York Office of UN High Commissioner for Human Rights.
Yes. But that's the top human rights person in the UN for all those years. And he's, certainly I've heard he's been on this radio show, I would say friend of the show, and just a wonderful person, very knowledgeable about what needs to be done in the UN system, in our foreign policy, et cetera. So we can learn a lot from him. Franchelle Parker, who is probably going to call in, I hope she's going to call in, at least spare us a couple of minutes during this show. And Franchelle just had an event which, again, got people involved, got people out in the street. Was it all, directive towards, there were different kinds of things that people can learn from and get involved with their choice of things. But the clear message is people need to get involved. So voting, back to necessary, absolutely necessary, not sufficient, right? So they just had a block party that was an echo block party on Jefferson over the Saturday, this past Saturday, right? Well, during the rally and after the rally. And after the rally. So I went after the rally. That was great. And then we have Shannon Seneca. So we just did our little shout out. And we did actually, the last show we did here was on Indigenous Peoples Day. So Shannon, you know, again, as an Indigenous woman, as a mom, as a scientist, as an environmental specialist who's been very involved with the needs at West Valley, which is really threatening our whole community. The way it's being cleaned up is not complete. It's not the very safest way. So there's not enough monitoring, and there's other problems with it. And of course, the leaching that has been happening of going down to Cattaraugus Creek for this nuclear waste is compromising to Buffalo, because that nuclear waste goes right into Lake Erie and then alongside Buffalo and into our water system. So it's worse for the indigenous people who are living right by it, but it's also affecting the broader community. So we have Shannon going to come and talk about indigenous rights and wisdom, as well as just environmental justice. And last but not least, Dr. Shyam Sriram, who's a professor at Canisius, is going to be there, and he's going to talk about immigration justice and refugee resettlement and his work. In fact, he just wrote a book that will be available. So we're excited to have all these people coming, and they're going to really illuminate ways that people can get, and, you know, that's always something we have in this show. How can people learn more and get more involved? So I think, you know, it's less about directing people. It's more about illuminating and then offering various possibilities for how people can get involved, things that people might do. I want to say, you know, certainly one of the cries that goes out all the time is about lobbying, going to our elected officials. And I want to say I've done plenty of that. And sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's very useful, but a lot of times it seems like it's not, you know, very effective, because they get a lot more money and a lot more attention from paid lobbyists who have, you know, seem to get me started about that. You know, when you can just see that there's nothing, you know, yes, you might be very good at making us feel like we've been heard, but then the actions don't change, the votes don't come. So, you know, should we be calling and texting and calling them out and lobbying them? Yes, we should. Is it the most effective thing? I think one of the most effective things we're doing is building people's willingness to mass mobilize. When you have 7,000 people in the street, that is a feeling that people don't soon forget. And I do believe that someday, you know, that's going to be very important for us. So I think that is nothing to be minimized about the importance of getting together in that way.
Yeah. I think that I think everything should be iterative. You should be constantly improving. I may have mispronounced that word. And I think that I think a lot of the methods that we have tried to enact change, they're done in not the ideal circumstances. You know, I think whether it's reactive, whether it's lack of resources, and that resources, when we, you know, when I think about organizing power, I think about organizing money and organizing people, and we can be lean on both. We can be lean on both for it to be more effective than what it could be. And I'm really interested in trying to be creative and curious and how we enhance what we're doing and what we're having. And real quick on the reactive part, my introduction into community organizing happened just before 2020, and as we went into COVID and the George Floyd protests, then I've seen seasoned community organizers log complaints on social media versus some new young people that were just coming out. And I thought that there was some missed opportunities. And when I would talk to different people that I looked up to that's been organizing for many years, I'm like, well, what does the plan look like 20 years from now or 25 years from now? And I've never gotten a strong answer. Well, and so I think that the reactivity that I've seen in my circles, it's not saying that my point of view or vision is everybody's, but I do think that by nature of how the system is set up and the positioning that we're fighting from, that it makes it hard. But it's a question that I keep bringing up, especially the planning part,
right,
as well as asking smaller questions on like, how do we improve this just a little bit? Because there's observations from other people where it feels less effective to those who are not intimately as involved.
Right. Well, I'd certainly agree that we need to be learning and growing all the time. There's no question that my immediate response is always, we'll do better next time. So, and anyway, so speaking of, one of the things, I'm very excited to be on campus, working with students, on this radio show. And that's one of the things about self-expression, so first of all, why don't you tell us a little more? Because I haven't even said the date of this dinner yet. So, and some more information about the dinner that people might want to share, and about what you all see about what's valuable and important about what's going on at the dinner and at the Western New York Peace Center, or even, that you're already working on.
I know a lot of students that I spend a lot of my time with are more so the group of people who would go out and be more expressive, and like would more so be the people that would go to the No Kings protest. So I'm coming from a place where I'm surrounded by people who partake in activism.
Hallelujah.
Which I have also noticed that there's a lot of college students on campus who don't really seem to, I don't know if care is the right word, but they just don't really seem to be active. So I'm hoping that this show will also help a little bit.
Yes.
They'll see their peers with me and Spike last week. But hopefully we'll see a lot more people my age from Buff State at the dinner.
Oh, good.
On November 10th. That we've been lobbying in our class. We've been trying to get a bunch of people in our class to go.
Oh, good.
Hey, it's good stuff.
And I know
Wonderful.
we've been talking, I've been mentioning it during the Blitz when Spike and I are on air talking about sports.
Thank you.
I've been mentioning the dinner, hoping to get it out there, get the word. I think this could be something really good for people my age, especially the people that I am interacting with the most that are more active. I think this is something that hopefully I'm really, really hoping that they'll be able to come to, so they can experience not just our point of view, but also your point of view. Like, you're way more seasoned in this than anybody that's my age on campus. And being able to hear from all of these speakers will be very, very helpful, because I know a lot of people aren't really well versed in the indigenous issues in Buffalo, because most of my friends are not from the area. So learning about all the issues in the Buffalo community, stuff that we can help with while we're here. And then we can also take this when we go back home and change our communities. I think I'm really, really hoping this is going to be something that I see my peers at, or at least they look at this, they see the poster when we are talking about it, they look it up, and they are gaining knowledge, they're experiencing something that they might not experience otherwise. That's the beauty of Buffalo, I have noticed, is there's a lot of different communities that mesh, and there is so much, like, culture everywhere, and I'm so glad, like...
So real quick, you want to tell us the dates and times?
Yeah, it's November 10th on a Monday, 5:30 to 9 at the Buffalo Convention Center. Pull up. I think I'm really, really hoping this will be something that I see a lot of younger people at, because we've been trying to spread it out on campus.
Well, thank you so much for that. We're grateful for all the help. And it is a fundraiser, of course. So, I mean, and a dinner, and it's at the convention center. So I will say that dollar signs are in there. And, you know, for some people it won't be possible. But we'll try to make, it's information that we're very busy promoting, illuminating all the time. And in fact, this very week we have a members night, which is free. And, you know, I mean, people are welcome to become members. You can become a student member at $10 to become a member of the Western New York Peace Center. But you don't have to be a member to come to members night. So it's this Thursday at 6:30. A little bit of Halloween theme. People are welcome to dress up. I don't think we've promoted that enough. But anyway, it'll be just fun. There'll be information about different campaigns and events that people can get involved with, depending on where their priorities lie. So it's this Thursday, 6:30 at 1272 Delaware in the Carriage House, first floor of the Carriage House, which is the Peace Center space. We'll be having it. We'll have some light refreshments. It's a potluck, you know, so people can bring a bag of chips or whatever you want to bring. So that's a great time to get to know people and get to know some of the issues. So there's so many different events. I'll also mention that we have ICE and the War on Terror that is happening a week from today on Monday the 27th. And that will be at Canisius College in the Science Hall, in the lounge of the Science Hall at Canisius University, I should say, Canisius University. And that we're going to have Julia Hall talking about how ICE is connected with the war on terror, the endless war that they started. You know, when 9/11 happened, it was a lot like October 7th, where the sympathy of the world came down. But instead of using that as an opportunity to actually make progress towards peacemaking, when the sympathy was there, you know, after criminal acts have been done, instead it's used as an excuse for massive war making and being, you know, the greatest purveyor of violence in the world, as the United States. Still true, as Dr. King said. So that's at 7:00 on October 27th. ICE and the War on Terror with Julia Hall, who's also an international. Actually, she was one of the top people at Amnesty International for years, and now she's been teaching in Chicago. I can't remember which university she's doing a period at. But anyway, this dinner, I didn't mention also that there's an award being given, which I'm very excited. Macklin Leader, that you may or may not know. So we've had a lot of protests and rallies lately, and they've been, she goes by she or they, have been at a lot of them and speaks so eloquently, really helping to build the movement. And I think that's really one of the main things that I see us doing right now is building the movement. So voting, getting involved in separate campaigns, but also building a unified movement so that, you know, we're not fractured, we're not in the silos, but we're really hearing about how all of these issues are connected. back to that's something that happened at the No Kings rally. That's something that will happen at the dinner, and that's something that will happen at the members' night this Thursday at 6:30 at 1272 Delaware. So anyway, so there's lots of ways of getting involved. There's no shortage of ways, and I think people are going to choose for themselves what's the way that works for them, what's their risk profile. I mean, there's opportunities for, civil disobedience or even civil resistance being civil resistance is, so civil disobedience is breaking unjust laws, but civil resistance is trying to get the government to follow the law. So we've been trying to get the government to follow the law for a long time. That issue goes back to the Constitution. All people are created equal, and then why some people get a raw deal, and worse, So all of those things need to change. So let's go back around again with, how you see the dinner being connected to activism. So I'll turn it to you.
How I see
Davon.
dinner being connected to activism. I'm hoping that that the dinner is plants a seed in different people that come to be engaged on a few different levels. So this is a fundraiser, and the Hope Center has an incredible mission and
The
history.
Western New York Peace Center.
The Western New York Peace Center has an incredible mission and history, and I'm hoping that we can get people to invest, because the time is now. The political climate that we live in, our democracy is being taken down brick by brick, and fascism, authoritarianism, 45 trying to make himself a dictator. Those things are they're very real. And unfortunately, the system is set up in a way in which we're just living in survival. And so we're trying to live paycheck to paycheck and take care of ourselves and take care of our kids or take care of aging parents. And so depending on where you are in the country, you may not feel the brunt of this change. So hopefully we can inspire people, plant a seed, and get them to invest, and start a conversation, dialogue that moves towards action with the Peace Center or with one of the speakers in ways that they may be able to get involved with them.
Thanks. Yeah, you're so right. Though all of those ways, I am hoping they'll happen. I will say on the history of the Peace Center, one thing I've mentioned Dr. King a whole bunch of times, but I haven't mentioned that the Western New York Peace Center was one of the first chapters of his Clergy and Laity Concerned. That a Lutheran pastor came from Buffalo, went down, heard him at Riverside Church, and came back here and said, we have to start a chapter. And that was what became the Peace Center.
Yeah, back in 1967.
Yes, exactly. That's why it's our 58th annual dinner. So now, what would you say for dinner and activism?
I'm hoping that it will have people recognize that this is happening in their community as well. There's issues that are affecting everybody in our country that we're hearing about on the news, but we're not really seeing it in our community. And I'm hoping hearing the speakers will help them recognize that it is happening in their community. It's happening in their backyard.
Right.
And they can help, they can donate, and they can really feel the impact that they can have. Because an impact, if they donate any sort of money, an impact will be had, whether that's minimal or it's a big undeniable change. Like, no matter what, a dollar can change anything. And I'm hoping that them listening to different points of view, different outcomes of what can happen if we don't have this activism, I hope they donate, and it makes a change in them and also in our community.
Thanks. Yeah, all of those would be good. And reminds me to say that we also have tabling. So organizations can come and table. We have, different organizations that are tabling, that are supporting by putting ads in our program book or things like that. So, so that's part of it. It's just building. And I just, as both of you have said, this is such a time that the Western New York Peace Center is so needed. And, our activism is so needed right now. I mean, it's so plain what's going on. And as you said, it's plain for some of us who are getting the information, who are listening to Democracy Now!, right, which you also play, So
Yeah.
We're so thrilled. Actually, that came through the Peace Center.
Yeah.
Amy Goodman came in 2017, was our keynote speaker. And that's how she got, the arrangement to be, broadcasting Democracy Now! Here at Buff State. On
One of our
WBNY.
most popular shows.
It's such a great show. It
really
the people
is.
who listen to that show know what's going on. So thanks to Buff State, and the Peace Center, and that's synergy, collaboration. That's where our strength lies. So that's another thing about the annual dinner, is it really is an opportunity for all of that synergy and collaboration to just help get us to the next level, to help us get our movement to the next level. And the struggle is not, new. It's just that it's gotten even worse. But I keep saying crisis equal to opportunity. So as bad as it's getting, it's making people realize, that, well, back to Dr. King, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So it is happening in our community. We have ICE with their masks on and their lack of taking people off the street, and they're now allowed to take people off the street based on the language they're speaking or the way they look. If that's not scary, and taking them off, there's a comic. I don't know if any of you've seen the one where it shows an ICE agent and then it shows a masked, really kidnapper, and they look exactly the same, and what they do is exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's happening.
It walks like a duck and looks like a duck.
Yeah, it's so needed right now. We need to really build up our activism, build up our community connections, and our working together. And the Peace Center, as a group that's been doing it for 58 years, with the bones, the legacy to keep doing it. We need to keep doing it. And by the way, as an interim executive director, I want to say, emphasis on the interim. Let's just put it that way. That's all I'll say. And I'm a workaholic. I'm not in danger of stopping to work on, it needs to be done. I'm a social worker. I think social workers are born and not made. Not that we can't get training and learning and keep learning, lifelong learning. But, we need, the young people. We need the younger people. We need all of us. There's really nobody that we don't need their skills, their energy, their different, kinds of intelligence, different strengths. And, that's why we're stronger together. So that's what we're working on. No doubt. So here, go ahead.
Where? For the, I don't want to say, if you happen to pop upon this radio station and community work, activism, community organizing isn't your thing, I just want to send out an invitation to check out Western New York Peace Center on Thursday for their members meeting. I think that word of mouth, I think that in the rise of technology, that human connection is underrated. And again, I would like to reiterate that the system is set up in this way on purpose. It's set up in a way that you go to school, you become a worker, and we keep filling up our time so that people are distracted, so that you don't have enough time to participate. And then there's a sense of overwhelm. Sometimes there's a sense of shame. Mm-hmm. And I want to dispel that there, wherever you come from, whatever level of knowledge that you come from, that you are an expert in your own life, and that the hardships that you overcome, they are political in nature. And right. Somebody is making a decision. Somebody is gaining power over an area. Somebody is making money from the commodification of every aspect of our life. And so come to the Peace Center and check us out with an open mind and an open heart. There's going to be food. There's going to be music. Are there going to be games?
Oh yeah,
there'll be games.
Yes,
so
yeah.
Come socialize, and we can learn together. And wherever you start, whenever you start, it's always a good time to start to learn just right. a little bit more. And you have people with huge hearts and with an amazing capacity to love, like Vicky, who is here to help enlighten us and point us in a direction, and without pressure, allow us to choose where we want to fit in and move forward.
Well, you're so kind. So it is. You're right about it. Is all about love, and that's what drives the big activism. Is because we love each other. You know, if we care about each other, if we care about our future and everybody else's future, you know, I mean, when we talk about the children in Palestine, all the children are our children, you know. So anyway, and it's our community, it's our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, our people, you know. So
our planet.
And our planet, yes, our planet, all the creatures, all the beautiful creatures. Oh my God. You know, so and so our action, our wise action, our collaboration is so needed. And back to crisis equal to opportunity. I do feel like we could end up in a better place than we might have been by, you know, as bad as things are getting in terms of our democracy, which has always been. I love this. Democracy now is such a great name, right? Because you know, we think we have a democracy. Well, now we know we don't have a democracy, but it's never been a complete democracy. It's never been everything that it ought to be, but it has deteriorated a lot. And then just recently, it has deteriorated almost beyond recognition. Just in a terrible way. However, we've got a force more powerful. So I want to plug that film too. So I never miss a chance to plug that film. You heard me talk about it, right?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Oh, what do you remember?
Oh,
This is not a quiz, you know. You have a lot of things to remember.
All just left my head.
Oh, okay. I'm just putting you on the spot.
I didn't mean
I got nervous.
Yeah, but it's called A Force More Powerful. Now, first of all, I think love is the force more powerful. But another force more powerful is nonviolent direct action and people power. So power to the people, which is actually one of the task forces of the Western New York Peace Center. I'm proud to say, which has been having a training programs of all kinds going on, de-escalation training, civil disobedience training, or know your rights training, I should say, et cetera. At anyway, so A Force More Powerful is a movie, 3-hour movie. They have it in 2 parts. You don't need to buy it. Please don't buy it on Amazon. Go look at your second or third choice, and that will be this small nonprofit that has nonviolent action or something like that has that film freely available. So the first 3 part one is about Gandhi and getting the British out of India, our civil rights movement here, and anti-apartheid South Africa. The second half is really especially about work slowdown, general strike, that kind of thing, through the Denmark during the Nazis, Poland and Solidarność, and Chile. So it's a great movie, and it's very moving. And, there are friends of mine who've said, well, it doesn't tell the complete story. And, I mean, first of all, even with 3 hours, you're not going to tell the complete story on all of that in 3 hours. But anyway, it is very inspirational, and it's about mass mobilization and building a movement, and how in these different countries at different times, movements have been built that have changed things, that have achieved, democracy or more democracy or whatever. So I recommend that to everybody, to anybody, to see that movie in your spare time. I know that's back to what you said.
It could be
so much time.
It could be an event that the Peace Center does.
We have shown it. Actually, Leslie Pickering. Shout out to Burning Books, our friends at Burning Books. So so he made a deal with me. He said, if I read the book, this nonviolence thing will get you killed, then he would do a showing of it.
Oh, yeah.
So we did. So I read the book, and it took a while, but we finally, did a showing, and we can do it again.
Yeah, we should run it back at the top of the year.
Yep, we need to
start the year off right.
Yeah.
You mind if I promote the event?
Please.
Okay.
No, please.
So my name is D. Real McCoy when I'm performing or giving speeches, and I'm your MC for the last couple of minutes. And we want you to join the Western New York Peace Center at our 58th annual dinner. Now, that's history right there. Started in 1967. And our theme is defending democracy. And we're going to have some fun, y'all. Join us. We're going to have a social hour. We're going to have some dinner, some good food. We got vendors, and they're going to show you how you can participate with not just us, but other people in this community. Always do it local. We're going to have a raffle. We got some music, and we have a dynamic panel today featuring, I'm going to let Vicky say
Craig McIver.
He's a human rights attorney and activist. And we have Franchelle Parker, founding executive director of Open Buffalo. Dr. Shannon Seneca, assistant professor of indigenous studies at University of Buffalo. And Vicky, help me out.
And Dr. Shram Sriram,
assistant professor of political science at Canisius University and heading their political science program. I promise you don't want to miss it. It's a couple of weeks from today. Get your tickets. Tell a friend. Tell a family member. It is time to defend our democracy. Back to you, Vicky.
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful. First of all, Davon, I know your own music, your own promotions, and your own, so much wisdom that you have about how to do outreach, what to do for outreach, the work that you've done with youth, at the Grant Street Neighborhood Center for PUSH. You've done all kinds of work. And now, on your next phase, I know you'll do lots of wonderful work as well.
I appreciate it.
Oh, it's so important. And it's part of building community. As a musician myself, if I can say,
yes, you are.
Play. Well, we need more music in the movement.
Yes,
no
we do.
Question about that. So where are we time-wise?
55.
Okay. So we do have a couple more minutes left. I'm so glad to be here. And I want to say this, about this program. This, I'm so happy to be doing it here now with you, Marissa. And we really want the students, the students need to, are so ready to express, need to express, and here's this opportunity. So I do hope, we'll think about what other kinds of shows you might like to have. So when we do some shows together like this. So I know, I'm hopeful that people can make it to defending democracy. I didn't give our website is WNYPC.org, WNYPC.org, and you can buy your tickets on that website. It's a little slow. We have a great web producer who's giving us a whole new website soon. But in the meanwhile, be patient while you're trying to order your tickets. But it will work. It will get there eventually. And also, you can see us on social media. Of course, we have Facebook, and our Instagram account is very active. We have a new Blue Sky account. So, and last but not least, go to our YouTube channel where there's tons of Talking Peace with the Western New York Peace Center. There's show after show. So the shows, we've been doing a show here since 2012, maybe. I've done like 3 hours in a row here live. We used to do it. It would be 2 hours. It used to be 2 hours. And then they'd say, oh, the person in the next slot called in, they're not coming in. Would you like to do another hour? And I would do another hour. So we're not up to that. We're just doing this hour now. But once we moved to Think Twice, we started producing it as a video radio show. So there's about 4 years worth of videos on our YouTube channel. So it's Western New York Peace Center YouTube channel. But I'm looking forward too. So I'm excited. Right now we're doing this in such a way that we can have our cake and eat it too. So it's here live broadcasting, and then it'll be on our YouTube channel as well. So now what's so if we just give you each one more minute to like a bottom line, something you want people to leave with.
Something I want people to leave with. Talk to your friends and family.
Yes.
About voting and
Yes.
about what's going on in this country.
Yes.
That phrase where you don't talk about religion or politics was made by people in power so that we would not share, communicate, and work together. So don't do that. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. Any little bit, any start helps. And let's fight for our democracy.
Thank you so much, Davon. That's so right on. You're so right, because nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. And at the very least, we can do that. That's so important. And Marissa?
I would just like to say, once you start having a lack of empathy towards anything, once you lose your empathy, you lose your activism. That's something I've always believed in.
Yes.
I think empathizing with absolutely everything is something that everybody should try to do. And I hope that empathy leads them to the dinner, and more protests in the future,
Yes.
becoming an active member of the community.
Yes.
It, like you said earlier, starting today is something that's still, it doesn't matter if you didn't start yesterday, you're starting today.
Right.
So I think that'll be perfect for everybody.
You're so right. You're so right. I'm so grateful. I really can't say how grateful I am to both of you. Davon, Marissa, it's been so great being here with you. I just can't thank you enough for all you do outside of this, all you've done right here, right now, all we're going to do together in the future. It's been wonderful. So this is Talking Peace, and together we've been talking peace in truth and love.